Hey everyone, hope you're doing well. Today on Collection Lessons, I want to talk about investments, gains slash interest versus business profits. This is my part of my Collection Lessons series, and I think I say on this channel is not think advice. And let's get going. So I want to talk about two things today. If you know what the quadrant system is, Rich Dad Poor Dad, they say ESBI. These are the four quadrants. Things on the left are time for dollars. Dollars equals time, and things on the right is not correlated directly of dollars does not equal time directly, right? So in this side, your quadrant, like in like a cash system, time for dollars is straight. In this side, time for dollars can go like this, right? I hope that's a review. If it's not, watch previous videos. So I'm going to be talking about these two things: investments and the business side of things. The difference between this big business on this side and the small business on this side is if your time is correlated to dollars. The main thing that I talk about with that is a lawn mowing company. If I start a lawn mowing company and I'm the one mowing the lawns, I'm stuck here. If I start a lawn mowing company and I hire out the lawn mowing to somebody and all I do is make executive decisions, make money, and it runs itself essentially, right? Like people go and they mow the lawns and all that type of thing. That is this side. So I'm talking about the right side. I'm not talking about the left with this one. I want to talk about the difference as well as why I utilize both into creating wealth, because they are a bit different. So it's similar to if you are in a job and like 80-90% of people are in a job situation or grow up knowing about a job and therefore have a job. The fastest way to make money is to get a job. But the fastest way to grow wealth is to not get a job. And usually that means people fall into the self-employed business where they're like, okay, well, I want to make my own business, but they don't scale it properly, or the business model doesn't scale. And that's kind of the problem with that whole left side. But for the right side, let's just do some examples here to see what I'm kind of talking about. If this blows your mind, or if you even thought about it, or maybe you have no clue what the heck I'm talking about. Maybe I'm just rambling on to my 6 viewers per week that I get, or whatever it is now. So we'll talk about the big business side, and then we'll talk about the investment side. Big business side is something like a very easy example is like online sales or online stores, like or arbitrage, or like when you have an Amazon type store and people just order from you and you just have a little bit of management to do, but nothing is tied directly time for dollars, right? So when you do this, let's say you want to make 50 bucks, right? That's the target for both these things. 50 bucks. That's the goal. How do you make 50 bucks in these quadrants rather than the other side? You can make 50 bucks at a job, maybe in an hour or two, or you're self-employed, like you fix computers like I tried to do, and you fix a computer for 50 bucks. You can do that pretty easy. It's the fastest way you want to make 50 bucks. The problem is if you want to make 50 bucks on this side of the table, and usually it pays dividends and it pays you 50 bucks every X amount of days or hours or years or whatever. This is the wealth side. So to make 50 bucks in a big business, you need to do something different, right? You can't just go out there, hey, I fix computers. Oh yeah, can you fix mine? Here's 50 bucks. You can't really do that. On this side, it's more like you have to create or find a system that works, that scales with you. So on this side, let's say I have a store, an online store. It's like an Amazon type store, and I make 10% of profit on anything that I sell. Well, how much do I have to sell to make 50 bucks? Well, quick math is $500 worth. I only have to sell $500 worth to make 50 bucks. On the investment side, you know, this is a reasonable, like, this is decent, right? You can make 10% on a lot of things. Some grocery stores make 3 to 5%. Some bigger scale stuff make a higher percentage. And if you keep everything in house, like McDonald's, and you sell burgers, the owner basically, it's like a 4-to-1 ratio. They make like 300%, 400% on their stuff. So 10% is reasonable in a business. If you make 10% profit, right? You can go grab stuff from like your Value Village or your Goodwill, and you can buy it there, and then you can sell it for maybe double on Amazon or eBay, and you just made 100%, right? So I think 10% is pretty conservative. That's what I'm going with this. scenario. Investment wise, it is very, very good if you can do if a pretty high reliability of 1% per month, right? So this, I could expect this in 1 month. So in 1 month, make 50 bucks, right? It's 50. You can make maybe 1% in a month. That's like with a pretty high chances this is going to happen, which means that, quick math, you need $5,000 in order in 1 month to make the 50 bucks over here, right? So they both make 50 bucks. Here's the difference. Here's the biggest difference. This requires zero capital. You don't have to have any of your real, like your own money, essentially. You can, but you don't have to, right? If you wanted to buy all this stuff for $450, sell it for $500, then your capital was $450. If you do it in a way where you buy it after somebody buys it from you, like arbitrage type thing. So like what some people do, and that's what affiliate marketing type stuff, that type of stuff I think is basically like, I go on eBay, I make a listing, I say, hey, I have this video game here, it's worth $500, and then I don't have the video game on me, but I know it's in the store and reserved for me because I reserved it, I called ahead, and somebody says, yeah, I'll buy that for $500. I go to the store I reserved, I buy it for the $450, I go over here, I sell it, within the same day, I got my money, essentially, or the person even pays for it before I even buy it, right? So you need zero capital, or like little as capital as possible. You don't even have to go into debt for this. That's why it's so great. But you just made that 50 bucks, right? Doing it this way. Yeah, I think I'm using 450 as an example. It's probably more like 460 because you know 10% of 450 is 45 bucks. Whatever. You get the point. With this one, you need 100% of the capital. 100%. Or else you're taking on debt, which is not a fun time when you're investing. Don't take on debt to invest. Don't afford more than you can afford to lose. It's garbage. Don't do that. So you need 100% capital, right? So what does that look like? Well, I need to figure out how to make $5,000. Usually either one of these two methods, right? E or S. Or how I use it, how I am using both of my online companies together, is one makes the money and invests the other half in the other company, in that kind of sense. So it's like you make 50 bucks, you take the 50 bucks, you throw in the investment. Something like that, right? That's how that would kind of work. And that's how some businesses work and some models, right? So that's what I'm talking about. What's the difference here? Well, the difference is if you do this, and you can do this reliably every month, you created a $50 dividend every month with like nothing, no capital being held. If you do get capital in here, you can actually throw it into this investment. You take your capital, throw in the investment, and then it makes money, right? You could take the profits from this, or if you have capital that's in a business, you could take some out to invest, that type of thing, without creating any form of debt. And that's why I believe you need both of these, essentially. It's easier, in my opinion, to do the big business part first. I tried doing it the reverse way. I grabbed a bunch of money, I grabbed a bunch of debt, and I didn't know what the heck I was doing, and I invested it because I was like, oh, what's this cool crypto thing? And I threw 5-10 grand in, or however much it was, and I got into a bull run right when it was, you know, taking off. That was 50% luck, in my opinion. Knowing what I know now, would I do it again? No, I wouldn't take any debt to invest. And for me, I don't believe that you should invest until you're debt free. That's just my opinion. But I think it's easier, and this is the difference. It's like, this will continue to make, you know, 50 bucks per month, and then it'll compound. This essentially could compound by either getting more customers or figuring out more supplies or grabbing things that people need, that type of thing. But I just want to share the difference, because you can go on this side and you can go to a job and be like, ooh, 50 bucks, what's that? You know, and then you're like, for an hour or two, you're like, I made 50 bucks. Or you can just like fix a computer, be like, oh, I made 50 bucks in an hour. The problem is on those don't create the wealth, those are time for dollars. And this side creates the wealth, right? If I can duplicate this, you know, with 5,000, I now have 500. And then if I duplicate this again, and then I go like this, now I'm making 5,000 a month by running 50,000 through a store. Same with this. This is why it scales, right? You just add a 0 to 1, you add another 0 to here, right? If I got 500,000 making 1% a month, it's making me 5,000. Now I can retire. I can get rid of the job. The problem is with the other side of things, if you make 5,000 and you stop working, then the money stops coming, right? And you can't scale it, right? This won't take 100 times more work to make this than it did to make the 50 bucks. That's just how it works, right? This is that scalable model that I was talking about. It doesn't matter, and this is where the investing part gets really cool. It doesn't matter if you have 500,000 or 5,000. It's the same amount of work, right? It's click this button to buy and click this button to sell. It is literally the same two click actions to make the X amount of percent, right? It doesn't take it doesn't take anything more. There is 0% more work by having an investments and making more money. That's why it's like the first 100,000 is the hardest, is because it's hard to get $100,000 from a job and save it and invest it, right? That's why it's so hard. But once you start adding a 0, it's just as easy. It takes 0% more work. The big business side, once you figure it out, you just do the same things you do anyway, right? You just figure out how to scale it or duplicate it, right? And then you just it doesn't take 10 times more work to get 10 times more money. That's the problem with these 1-to-1s ratios over here, right? I don't know if you can see these 1-to-1s. This is 1 to X, right? You do the same amount of work for X amount of results. Here, you do the one amount of work for one result, and it's always locked. There's no way out of that. This is why on the right side, I call this the investment side. I mean, this is labeled investments, but both these are investment of something, in my opinion. And this on the left is where it's not investments. This is time for dollars. This is you working for a job. Time equals dollars, right? Usually a job of sorts. You make the job for yourself, or you work for somebody else. Either way, somewhere someone's getting rich. Somebody's on the right side somewhere in your business, right? Either you work for it and it's the owner of the company, or it's the government if it's a government-owned thing, or hopefully it's you in the self-employed, because you're playing two roles here, right? The time you're a job and you're the owner, so hopefully you get benefits of both. Chances are you get benefits of neither. But that's what I wanted to share. That's the difference. This is easy to scale and grow. You just got to figure out what it is. What does this, right? And that's where things like, YouTube and Twitch and Amazon store stuff and those types of things can scale super easy, right? A person on Twitch doesn't work 10 times more harder to make 10 times more money. They probably just got 10 times more followers, right? And a person that invests, it doesn't matter. They don't click the button, the buy button 10 times more than the other guy. They just have more in here, right? So that's what I want to share with this video. Hope you guys are doing well. Thanks, and talk soon.